You know that feeling, right? That real satisfaction when you've built your own home server setup. Maybe it's a Proxmox box humming away, VMs, containers, blending that serious enterprise tech with just, the fun of tinkering.
Oh, yeah. It's your own little digital creation.
Exactly. But then you're out, you're not at your desk, maybe at work, maybe grabbing coffee, and you think, oh, I need to check that back up, or need to quickly restart that VM.
Right. And suddenly that amazing setup feels frustrating.
Totally. You're squinting at your phone, trying to poke at this interface designed for a big screen. It's just not seamless. Definitely not joyful.
Nope.
So that kind of leads us to the big question for this deep dive.
Oh.
What is the secret to getting truly smooth, seamless mobile control for your Homelab? And, maybe more interestingly, how is this one app apparently shaking things up for managing these systems on the go?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at insights today from an article called Unlock the Secret to Seamless Proxmox Control with Proxman's latest iOS innovation.
Yeah, and our mission here is really to unpack what this new iOS app, ProxMan, is all about. It's built specifically for people using Proxmox VE, that's the virtual environment, and the Proxmox backup server.
Okay.
We want to look at how it's tackling this, long-standing headache of mobile management, why it seems to be getting so much buzz online, and, what it might tell us about where specialized software is heading. It feels like more than just an app, actually.
Right, like a sign of something bigger. So let's start with the problem itself. That clunky browser-bound headache. I think a lot of Homelab folks will recognize that feeling.
Definitely.
You're basically stuck using remote desktop, which is overkill, or wrestling with what the article calls finicky browsers. It's just awkward.
It really is. Like trying to do something precise wearing mittens,
Well, yeah, good analogy. And people aren't shy about it. The feedback is, well, pretty direct. There's one quote that just cuts right to it. Proxmox is shit on a phone.
Wow, okay. Lump it.
Blunt, but it captures that frustration with the official mobile web UI. It just wasn't built for mobile, was it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
And that's why this problem sticks around, right? Traditional web interfaces, they assume you've got a mouse, a keyboard, a decent-sized monitor.
Sure.
They're not thinking about tapping on a small screen while you're, waiting for a bus. And that mismatch means you're constantly fighting the interface instead of easily managing your virtual environment. It creates this huge gap.
Between the power you have and the ability to actually use it easily when you're not at your desk.
Exactly. Which, perfectly sets the stage for something new, something native, mobile first.
And that's where Proxman steps in. Described as this sleek new iOS app that's kind of rewriting the rules. It offers a proper native experience.
Mobile first.
Right. Available on iPhone, iPad, even Mac now, apparently.
Okay.
So no more squinting at browsers or firing up remote desktop just to check server status.
Which is a huge relief for many, I bet.
And the origin story is pretty interesting, too. It's not some big company.
No.
It was crafted by a solo developer who's also a diehard Proxmox enthusiast, built it basically to scratch their own itch. They wanted a better way to manage their own Homelab.
And that kind of passion project often leads to something really good, doesn't it? Because they feel the user's pain.
You can definitely see that here. I mean, the reaction online seems, well, overwhelmingly positive.
Oh, it's more than positive. It's bordering on euphoric sometimes. People are calling it clean, intuitive, leaps and bounds better than the alternatives.
Like ProxMobo or just the standard web interface.
Yes, exactly. You see comments like, I'm in love, or praising how reactive and modern it feels. And get this, some people are buying the lifetime subscription, not just for the features, but just to support the developer because they love the app so much.
Yeah, that says a lot.
It really does. It's seen as this victory for anyone who's ever squinted at a tiny browser window to reboot a VM. It solves a real nagging problem. The community response just validates that completely.
Okay, so we get the problem, we get the enthusiasm. Let's dive into the app itself. What's the magic here? How does it manage to be powerful but still feel simple?
Well, I think it's about distilling things down, making complex stuff accessible,
Right.
So take the real-time push notifications. That's not just a nice to have. It fundamentally changes how you interact.
How so?
It uses Proxmox's own notification system, so you get instant alerts on your phone for critical things, backups finishing, maybe a node going offline.
Okay, so you know immediately.
Exactly. You shift from reacting to problems after they happen to knowing about them instantly. You can actually trust things are okay even when you're away. That's huge for peace of mind.
That does sound game-changing. Now, it's a premium feature, right? And the article mentioned a possible bug, a 501 error.
Yeah, premium feature. And one user hit that 501, which usually means some kind of server-side hiccup preventing the request. But based on everything else, the developer seems super responsive to fixing bugs like that quickly.
Good to know. And what about security? Logging in.
Crucial, right? They've added good stuff here. Supports two-factor authentication TOTP, the time-based codes,
Standard stuff, yeah.
and also OpenID Connect. So if you use tools like Authentic or KeyCloak for single sign-on,
Which a lot of Homelabbers do.
exactly, that works. Added in version 1.2.0, and you can store credentials securely in iCloud, makes setup way faster. People are asking for more, like token logins, or better support for reverse proxies, like Nginx Proxy Manager with basic auth.
And the devs listening.
Seems like it. Those are apparently on the radar.
Okay. What about actually controlling things? VMs, containers?
Super intuitive, apparently. Easy to view, edit details, connect. And the basic power controls start, stop, reboot. They're just a single tap away.
Nice. Simple.
Very. Though smartly, users have asked for confirmation prompts before you do something drastic like stopping a critical VM.
Yeah, that makes sense. A little "are you sure" button.
Exactly. And that's planned for the next update. People also want more network details shown, like IP addresses and subnets, which again shows that community feedback loop working.
And monitoring. Can you see what's going on resource-wise?
Yep. Live resource monitoring, clear graphs, real-time stats for CPU, memory, disk, network. Lets you quickly spot if something's going wild.
That's handy for diagnosing issues on the fly.
For sure. Though, transparency here, a few UI bugs reported, like sometimes usage bars might show up blank, or this one user had a scare with an NVMe wear-out value.
Oh yeah, the heart attack quote.
Right. Showed 97% wear-out instead of 3%. Yikes. But again, developer acknowledged it, promised fixes. And temperature monitoring is apparently a really popular request for the future.
Makes sense. Okay, what if you use Proxmox Backup Server, PBS?
ProxMan handles backup management for that too. Pretty comprehensively, it seems. You get a detailed view of your data stores, backup groups, snapshots.
So you can check if backups actually ran.
Yeah, and even trigger verification, pruning, garbage collection right from the app. There were some early reports of backups not showing up correctly, maybe complex setups with namespaces, but overall the backup features seem really well received. Gives you confidence in your data protection.
And for people running more than one Proxmox server or a cluster.
Multi-node support is built in. Makes managing multiple nodes or whole clusters really easy, apparently. Unified dashboard. Switch between environments effortlessly. Big win for bigger home labs.
Definitely.
Now, it's worth mentioning the premium features, the notifications, the console access. There's been some discussion about maybe needing clearer documentation in the app about what's free versus paid. Although the developer does point people to the FAQ on their website, proxman.app. But what's really interesting is that lifetime subscription offer.
The one people are buying just to support the dev.
Yeah. It's described as reasonably priced and was maybe a limited time thing, but lots of users jumped on it, basically saying, I love this app's potential, take my money. That's powerful community backing.
That really is. And it sounds like that community connection is maybe the core strength here, the secret weapon, as the article puts it.
I think so. It's not some faceless corporation. It's one person deeply involved with the Proxmox community, super responsive.
You can see it in the roadmap, right? Things users asked for getting added.
Exactly. Those confirmation alerts we mentioned, VM migration is planned, search and sort functions for VMs and containers, even niche stuff like serial terminal access, which can be better than VNC on a phone sometimes, or Face ID lock-in for the app itself. It's clearly community-driven.
And what about the tech underneath? It's React Native, right?
Yeah, React Native with Expo. And the exciting part about that is the developer saying an Android port is quite possible.
Oh, wow. That would be huge.
Huge. There's definitely a demand.
Yeah.
Android users have been complaining for ages about the state of Proxmox apps on their side. Outdated and clunky is how one user put it.
Right.
The developer even joked about calling the Android version Proxwoman, which kind of shows that fun community vibe again.
Huh. So an Android version could really open this up.
Potentially, yeah. And connecting this back to the bigger picture, Proxima feels like part of this trend, this democratization of managing complex tech like home labs.
Awesome.
Well, Proxmox VE itself is open source, right?
Mm-hmm.
Built on Debian, KVM, LXC, it thrives on community.
Mm-hmm.
And while Proxman isn't open source,
Right.
The way the developer engages, listening, responding, prioritizing it, mirrors that same collaborative spirit.
Hmm.
It shows how one dedicated person can step in and fill a real need in that ecosystem.
Solving problems maybe bigger players overlook.
Could be. It raises interesting questions. Now, we should mention security concerns from advanced users. Things like Cloudflare tunnels seem to work fine for exposing the service securely,
Okay.
but more complex setups, like using Cloudflare Access or other single sign-on providers that rely on forward authentication,
Yeah.
those don't work right now because ProxMan talks directly to the Proxmox API.
Oh, okay. Technical limitation there.
Yep. And there's also a push from the community for Bastion host support. A secure jump server, so people don't necessarily need a VPN for remote access. These are things the dev is aware of, part of that ongoing conversation.
Got it. So, okay, it sounds amazing, but no app is perfect, right? Especially a new one. There must be some quirks.
Oh, for sure. And the article acknowledges them. We mentioned some of those UI bugs, like the scary drive wear out number or the blank progress bars.
Right. The heart attack moment.
Exactly. And sometimes load times might be a little slow, maybe a few seconds delay when you open it. And it doesn't have every feature yet that you'd find in the full web UI, like, say, a wizard for creating new VMs from scratch, or that temperature monitoring people want.
And finding it, the article mentioned a discoverability hurdle.
Yeah, apparently searching the App Store for ProxMan sometimes gets confused by Apple's search and points you to ProxyMan, totally different app.
That's annoying.
A bit, yeah. But the developer seems confident that as ratings and usage go up, that'll sort itself out. But really, these feel like minor speed bumps,
Especially given the developer's response.
Exactly. Their proactive stance is key. They're not hiding from bugs, they're promising fixes and rolling out new stuff. Widgets for your home screen are planned, being able to copy text out of an LXC console. Watching it evolve based on feedback is actually part of the appeal, I think.
Yeah, it feels like a living project.
Totally. Builds trust.
So, wrapping this up, what's the takeaway for someone listening? ProxMan sounds like more than just another app.
I think it is. It feels like maybe a triumph of that community-driven approach. It gives Proxmox users a genuinely rewarding, seamless way to manage their Homelab on the go. VMs, containers, backups, real-time info. It puts you back in control wherever you are. It really does change the game for mobile management.
Right.
And that leads to maybe a final thought, something for you listening to chew on. If open source ecosystems like Proxmox enable this kind of agile, solo developer innovation, how else could this model shake things up? Where else are complex tools saddled with clunky interfaces just waiting for this kind of focused, community-driven transformation?
Interesting question. What other areas are ripe for this?
Exactly.
So the practical advice, if you use Proxmox, especially on iOS right now.
You definitely check out ProxMan. Download it, try the free features, see if it solves that clunky headache for you.
And maybe consider that lifetime premium if you like what you see.
Yeah, especially to support the ongoing work. And keep an eye out for that potential Android version. It feels like it's really setting a new standard for interacting with our home labs remotely.